Okay, so the call is being recorded. So the first thing we always ask on these calls is share some wins with us. Anybody would like to share some wins? Anybody have any listings they've taken, any closings they've had, any new buyer contracts, they picked up a new buyer, whatever. So had a problem child project transaction that they've been able to get back on track or whatever. Let's share some wins.
I got one. I got two new listings since we last had conversations.
Sweet.
Closed the deal, and I'm going into my next closing this afternoon.
Wow. So you took two listings, had a closing, and now you're going to go into a settlement this afternoon.
Correct.
How cool is that? So anybody else? Yeah. Well, yeah, exactly. Good job. So tell me about the listing. Where did that come from?
Both listings are SOI, past clients.
Okay.
And one's an investor, just finally finished rehabbing the place a little bit.
Got it.
The other one is from the settlement I'm going to today. They're listing now that they've got their new house that they can move their stuff into. So.
Sweet. Well, that's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
You know, to have those kind of wins piled up. Well, and it's nice. And we're at this time of year, and they're all coming from SOI, which is awesome, right?
Right.
So, anybody else have any good wins? I see Richard and Robin just joined us, and Chris Bocello's made it on. So, anybody'd like to share some wins? Anybody? Robin, you usually good for a win. Where you at, buddy? How about you, Richard?
Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Well, Richard, how are you doing from your accident?
I have an appointment in an hour with the chiropractor again and then an MRI.
Got it.
So
for those,
I'm alive
Richard
and
was
well.
in an accident last week. Say it again.
I said I'm alive and well.
Oh yeah. I hear you. So
anytime I can look down at the ground rather than looking up at it, it's going to be a moment.
Yep. I love the war veteran statement. Any day nobody's shooting them is a good day.
That's right.
So now we just got some people that finally got their phones on. They were to log in with their phones. So some people, obviously people are having struggles right there. I can see popping in and out. So anyway, so we're still on wins. Anybody like to share some wins? I know you got some, Robin. I see the files across my email.
Oh, yeah, I've got some wins. One of my properties went under contract, which is great.
Right.
Mostly because I list the one down the street in 2 weeks, and so if it wasn't under contract, people might get mad at me. So
right.
Grateful for that. I've got another listing appointment tomorrow night, and I'm hoping to hear back from a listing appointment I did a couple weeks ago this week.
Okay. So tell me about the appointment tomorrow night. Where'd that come from?
This was actually a Zillow lead about 6 or 7 months ago for a buyer, and I've kind of been looking with this guy. Unfortunately, it's a divorce situation. She was supposed to sell the house in January, and then they were basically going to cash out so she could buy a house and he could buy a house. Well, it's not happened yet. This is the second time he's asked me to sell the house. However, it'll be interesting because I think she kind of hates me, even though she doesn't know me, just because I happen to know her husband.
Right, because he picked out a female.
Anything. I think at this point it's just anything he likes, she's not going to like. So
yeah,
anyway, it'll be a challenge, but it is what it is. So we'll see how it goes.
Yep. So sometimes, I've said years ago that a male-female couple of agents would, if they partnered up and went after divorce attorneys, I think it would work out because that way each agent can take one of the people in the couple and then report to each other at the end of the day if they need to, because they don't agree on anything. That's why they're divorcing. Because if they were in an agreement on anything, they probably wouldn't be selling the house in a divorce. I mean, it's just that simple.
Well, yeah, no, I think that's the case. So anyway, so it'll be a good
I went through a
learning for
divorce.
me.
There's no agreement on anything.
Yeah, I think that's the case here for sure.
Right.
So anyway, we'll see. Fortunately, we do have a ton of common friends, even though I don't know her. So I'm hoping maybe just knowing that will use it. But I don't know, it'll be a good learning for me, if nothing else.
Right. Yeah, they're definitely a challenge, They're definitely a challenge. But it's all right. You'll handle it. I'm completely confident you'll handle it. I'm not worried about that. Anybody else have any wins they'd like to share? No?
I had a business lunch meeting with some investors, and I put them on some hot seats. They're investing, or they would like to. They've invested in the Valley, but they want to invest in Park City, and their range, could be, in the median area that we sell.
Mm-hmm. Sweet. And where did you find them?
Calling through, I believe it was calling through expired listings. I believe that's what it was from. Let me look.
Sweet.
Pretty sure. Yeah.
That's great.
So you called through expired listings and picked up somebody. That works for me.
Yeah. Actually, no. I take that back. This was a couple that had advertised on Craigslist that they were buying in the Valley, and everything that they described that they wanted, we did talk about that, but then, since I'm in Park City, I asked them, so would you consider Park City as well? And that's where they got really excited. So.
Got it. So they were on Craigslist advertising what? What were they advertising?
Well, they were advertising that they wanted to buy a property,
Oh, wow.
To contact them.
So there's a section of Craigslist where people can say, I want to buy something? I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, everybody underestimates Craigslist. Craigslist for a long time was just a Wild West, and it was robots. You could have robots posting. Well, they kind of eliminated all that and really toned it back on the real estate portion of it. Well, most of their site. But the people underestimate Craigslist here in Utah, because we don't use it. We use KSL. However, people from out of town, they don't know about KSL yet. So you could actually advertise on KSL property for sale, and you may pick up some out-of-town buyers. So don't underestimate Craigslist. I mean, it's just a simple copy and paste. You're good to go, So, excuse me. So anyway, well, great job. I'm glad to hear all these wins. So anybody else would like to share some wins with us? I know Renee's on the call. Renee joined Mike Ferry. Is that correct, Renee? You're muted. You have to log in with your phone or unmute your phone or something. I'm assuming you can hear us, but we can't hear you until your thing's on. But anyway, that's okay. We can talk about that another time. Well, let's go into struggles. Is anybody struggling with anything? Because remember, the three main questions are, we share wins, we share struggles, and we share questions, right? Does anybody have any questions about anything they're doing? As far as like lead generation, that kind of stuff. Excuse me. So no, everybody's got more leads than they can handle. Awesome. I'm so glad to hear all that by the deafening silence. So anyway, all right. So let's get back into it now. Like I said earlier, we haven't had a call in a couple of weeks. We had the Mike Ferry Productivity School, and not everybody on the call attended that, but a good portion did. And then obviously, Amy's has her situation she's been dealing with, so she's kind of been out of commission here a little bit. And it's good to see you on the call, Amy. I need to catch up with you a little later. We will. But anyway, so how has it been going with your calling your partners? Has everybody been calling their partners? That's on the call that has a partner. So if you're on the call and you don't know what that's about, we have an accountability system where you get assigned a partner. You talk to each other every day. You call each other in the morning, declare your intentions of what you plan to do that day. You know, I plan to talk to 5 people, whatever, mail 3 cards, blah, blah, blah. So you share that with your partner, then you go do your declaration and then come back and talk to your partner and let them know how you made out. So you do 3 things. Call your partner, declare. 2, go do your declaration. And then 3, call your partner back and share with them. So that's the accountability program we have in place if you're not aware of that. So, and if you're not in the program and you'd like to join that, then I would, just send an email to admin, ADMIN, admin at Aubrey.net, admin@Aubrey.net, and we'll make sure we get you in the system. And I think we're due to switch, and if we haven't switched, so we don't switch on a Monday like we're supposed to, then by all means, just continue to call your other partner, and then we'll get in there and we'll make the switch out for you to where we switch partners on it. So never use the fact that we didn't switch, send out a new roster as an excuse not to do it. So just call somebody, right? So let's look at this. So we got Charles, Amy, Richard, Mary, Renee, Chris. So you guys were all at the productivity school. What about role play partners? Have you guys been using anybody doing any role plays?
Yeah, Amy and I have been doing role play up until, just last week.
Right. So, okay. Anybody else?
I'm receptive to doing other role plays besides Amy, if anybody wants to join in.
Well, and then I would have at least 2 or 3 role play partners. So that way you don't wear each other out, for one. Number 2, it's good to talk to different agents because you talk to the same person over and over, and eventually you start to get complacent, and that kind of stuff. Next thing you know, it becomes a chit-chat call rather than a good old-fashioned role-play call. So remember, Mike Ferry, on their they have a couple Facebook groups. Make sure you go and like the Mike Ferry Facebook group. And then on there, they actually have a role-play group to where you can go in and find role-play partners on a national scale. So, also, just because, if you don't have one here, that's fine. Go there anyway, go to that site. I mean, there's plenty of role plays that you can get around the country. So never allow any, no excuses, just do it. That was Bruce Keith's line all the time. No excuses, right? I love that. So if you go to Mike Ferry, it's called the Mike Ferry Organization in Facebook, and then on the left sidebar, here, I'll just pull it up. So on the left sidebar, so if you go there, that says groups. If you click on groups right here, then you click on that, and it takes you to these 3 sites. He's got 3 other groups, right? So this one here is a accountability role play partner. This one's called Mike Ferry Live. Not sure what that one is. I guess they're going to be doing live things. And then the Mike Ferry Network, not quite sure. I haven't really driven into that one. So you got resources available. You can always just call anybody up that that's been at any event. If you've been there, I would encourage you to role play with people that have been through the class because they're going to get what you're trying to achieve. That doesn't mean if you haven't been to the class you can't role play with somebody. That's not what we're saying. But so help somebody that hasn't been through the class, and make sure you role play with somebody that has, because that'll help you raise your game. Make sense? So how would everybody say they've done on their accountability partnership for the last 2 weeks while I was on vacation and traveling, that kind of stuff? So nobody, huh? Excuse me. So, anyway, here's the thing, boys and girls. We're heading into the second quarter. We're actually in the second quarter. We're not even heading there already. first quarter is behind us. Second and third quarters are the most productive times of the year, right? They're the most productive times of the real estate cycle, of the annual cycle of production, right? You have wintertime, but we're in high gear right now. We need to be, you need to be in third gear, shifting from second to third and punching the pedal right now. That means, because there's people out there, if they're thinking about selling, it is now. If anybody's thinking about selling, I am telling you it is now. That's when families start getting their houses ready, so things like that. So if you want to do something, send out an email. If you want to send out like a tip or something like that, what you do is you go to your or you can do it on Facebook. You can create a tip, right? Tips on getting your home prepared for sale. I mean, it might be a good ad to try and run. I don't know if you'll get what you'll get out of it. Maybe create a page on your website that talks about, 3 most important things to prepare your home for sale, whatever that means. And then you run the ad on that link, right? So you create a post with the link in it and then run the ad. They click on the link, it takes them back to your website. And that's where you want them. You want them on your website. The other thing is with your websites, now, how many people here have seen my ad everywhere on the internet, right? You all have. Every one of you have seen my ad everywhere on the internet. That functions like a email drip campaign. In fact, my opinion, it's actually better than an email drip campaign because it's not either. There's no spam filter to contend with, right? So people just see that ad everywhere. So whoever hearing some noise in the background. So just be real cognizant that your microphone picks up the slightest little paper rustling, things like that. Just be cognizant of that, and then it takes it and amplifies it in our speakers. So just be aware of that. So those that have seen my ad everywhere, right? You've seen it. So the ad, and the way that's done is you have to do it. And I'm talking to Jared Wangsgard in our office. He's actually real familiar with that stuff. So we're going to be putting together a package where, it's between you and him. I'm just telling him what I think agents need and what they would like to do, and then you'd have to pay him, but he would set you up to where you have the ability to add that kind of code to your website to where if somebody visits your website, they start seeing your ad everywhere. You can also do the same thing with Facebook, where you can add the remarketing code to a Facebook, and then when someone clicks on your ad, they start seeing your ad everywhere. They, selling your home for top dollar and least aggravation, that kind of stuff, whatever the ad may be. So you just so that's so we're going to be able to have that available to you to hire somebody to get you set up if you're not familiar with how to do it. Now, as tech savvy as I am, I actually hired somebody because I'm like, you know what? It is really complex in the beginning to get it set up. Now I understand it. It's not that complex now, but to try and figure it out is very complex. But just think about that. You drive somebody to your website, and then they start seeing your ad everywhere on the internet. Well, that's about as good as a follow-up. The only thing better follow-up than that is picking up the phone and talking to them. But think about that for a minute. And you should be focused on seller marketing, right? We tend to focus on buyer marketing. That's just the way our brains typically are wired. And most people that you ever talk to about marketing, because marketing is about selling, right? Selling product or selling service. But in real estate, so when you talk to anybody that's a marketing specialist, the first thing they want to do is advertise houses for sale. Well, we're looking for sellers. Sellers are where it's at, right? I mean, we all know you can manage 10 sellers, right? 10 sellers with the same energy. Or I should say, it takes about the same energy to manage 10 sellers as it does maybe 3 to 4 buyers. So I don't know about you, but if I can get the same, if I can do 10 with the same energy as 4, I mean, I'm not a brain surgeon or anything like that, but I'm guessing 10's better than 4. What do you think? Right? So you need to gear your marketing towards sellers, right? How to prepare your home for sale. right? How about running
So
an ad?
Rod,
Yes.
I was just going to say I ran an ad for sellers, and one of my listings is from my ad, so it does work.
Right. Who's this?
Robin.
Oh, hi. Got it. So you ran an ad to find a seller, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah. Now, seller ads typically generate less responses, but that's okay. Buyers, but there aren't that many agents actually running seller ads. So, that's just the way it is. So because everybody naturally gears for, running ads for buyers. But seller ads are where it's at. I love this. I love the concept, and I know it has. I've said this many, many times. What if you ran a simple ad that said, "Thinking of selling"? Little-known government program that can net you up to $30,000 more than you think. What if you ran an ad that just simply said that, but you ran it consistently, right? Like we've had some agents do, some postcards on that, but they weren't enough. I mean, you got to do like 1,000 postcards with that to really get anything out of that. You got to run, Facebook ad like that often, maybe change up the image or something like that, maybe change up your demographics. I know Facebook has made some, sweeping changes on how you can run real estate ads because they've been in trouble with the federal government that they've been discriminating on people, which I don't agree with that. Because discrimination is actually equal housing is denying access to housing, where I don't think if you target an ad because you don't have Nike's budget if you're an individual agent, so you can't advertise to the whole world. So you have to really drill down and pick a target audience. And so, I don't think that's denying people housing. But I'm not the federal government of Facebook, so I don't know if that's political or not. Where the current administration went after Facebook and punished them. So I don't know, but Facebook and Google definitely need to be slapped down a little bit. So, but anyway, that's
So it was thinking of selling. What was the second part of that? What if I can net you?
No, a little-known government program that could net you up to $30,000 more than you think or you thought. So, little-known government program, and we all know what the little-known government program is, right? It's assumable loans. So if somebody bought their house with FHA or VA, those loans are assumable, meaning a buyer can come along and apply, fill out an assumption application. They have to qualify for the property, qualify for the loan. If they qualify, then the loan, the first borrower is removed, and the second borrower takes over the first borrower's position on the loan. Now, the cool part of that is if you understand an amortization chart, and if the loan is 5 or 6 years old, that has value. That's a lot of value, right? Think about buying a loan, especially if the interest rate is considerably less money, right? I mean, buying a home at 4% that, with a 30 years is, let's rephrase that. Buying a home at 3.5% that's got 6 years already paid off on a loan. So you're getting a 30-year amortization payment, but you only have 24 years left on the loan, and it's at 0.5%, even up 0.75% less. So that's worth significant money to a buyer. So now most buyers aren't going to be able to come up with the cash different, right? So the buyer to purchase that, they would have to have the difference between the sales price and the balance of the loan, okay? But that doesn't mean you don't run the ad, right? The ad, what's the purpose of the ad? To make the phone ring. Get them on the phone and just start asking some qualifying questions. So I'm curious, well, how long have you owned this home? And just ask them, say, do you mind if I ask you a few questions to see if we got, if we should get together for this type of program? Yeah, okay, great. Yeah, they want to. So how long have you owned this home? Great. And so, when would you like to be sold? that kind of stuff, right? So we're starting to go into the why, when, and where questions, but we need to start out with we're qualifying to see if they qualify for the special government program. And all the special government program, what kind of loan did you get when you bought the house? Did you get a conventional, a VA or FHA or Utah house, whatever. So just find out. Say, all right, I'm going to collect this information, and then, and I'm going to have, and then schedule an appointment with them later on. Say, look, now that I have your information, I got to run, get with my expert or whatever and schedule an appointment. But you want to find out the why, when, and where, right? We're on the phone with them. So, do you want to follow up with them? You got to be careful. You don't want to set an appointment if they're 6 months out, right? But you just got to play it by ear. I've never run these ads before, but the thing is, you have to be different than everybody else. So, that's it. It's that simple. You have to be different than everybody else. Everybody else is running houses for sale, but what if you advertise you can net them more money than everybody else? Because, people hear little-known government program. They're like, ooh, what's that, right? Curiosity killed the cat. They're going to call. So you're going to get some kind of leads. But, again, you can't dabble at this. You got to go after it. You got to spend, go after it and hit some, mail 1,000 people. But excuse me, but you're chasing sellers with these mailers, So anyway, just some thoughts on that. Any questions about what I'm saying? So no? Okay. Any other thoughts or questions about running different types of ads? Buyer ads are great. They really are. However, we all know that you can manage more sellers with the same energy as less buyers, right? So why not go after sellers? Sellers is a leverage business. Sellers, if you have signs, like right now, Robin's got she's got a listing in the Harvard-Yale district that just went on a contract, but she's still got a sign up there. But she's going to have another sign up there in a week or so, and now she's going to have 2 signs on the same street, down the street from each other. How cool is that? And then Chris just closed one in there, and then Robin closed one there last year. We're starting to do some damage up there in the Harvard-Yale district. But Robin's got an inroad in there, so, obviously this little government-known thing might not work in that area. People are a little more sophisticated there. But you never know. Who knows? So people with more money, they tend to actually be easier clients. And the transactions tend to be smoother. People are more sophisticated, and their loans are easier to do because they have accountants and that kind of stuff. So anyway,
100% true.
Any other thoughts or questions on that? Yeah, the buyer just does their inspection. They're not upset over a broken outlet. They don't care. They're like, it's an $800,000 house. We fix outlets all the time. So, and then when their lender needs something, the CPA just emails it to them. So I know, that's how I roll. If I need something, I just call Rick. Rick's my bookkeeper besides doing payroll for the company. But if I need something, he just runs me reports. Boom, and I'd have them by the next day. If I urgent enough, he'd give it to me that day. Excuse me. But anyway, you get the concept. We all know the smaller the deal, the royal pain that they are. And the smaller they are, the bigger the pain they are. Holy cow. So, any other thoughts or questions or concerns on that?
Nope.
Okay. So, if not, I'm going to go ahead and end the recording. Go ahead and end the call. I'll post this up online. I always post these. So if you go to our Aubrey & Associates Facebook page, right? So it's just so Facebook, right? So let's see. Where are we at? Over this Aubrey & Associates. So right here, and I pinned it to the top. These are productive agent calls. So this is there. So when this call is done, then in so much time, I get an email from Join.me with the recording. Then I had to go to Facebook and then upload it to Facebook. And then when I upload it, I add it to this playlist. So all you have to do is click this on, open it up, and this is a playlist of all the calls. They're in chronological order going backwards. So the newest ones are at the bottom. So if you ever want to go back and listen to any of these calls, and I don't really have a theme on there. I was kind of, so I don't know, really not sure how to give them titles, So anyway, that's it for now. So unless you have any questions, I'm going to go ahead and end the recording and then end the call.
Thank
you, Rob.
Thanks,
Go
Rob.
once or twice. Yep. See you guys. Have an awesome day.
Bye.
You too. Bye-bye.